Welcome to Six Questions with Alana. That's me. And with us today, we have one of our faculty choreographers, Victoria Barrett.
That's
Hi, Victoria. That's me. We're going to talk about your Spring 23 piece that was a reprise of a piece that you've done before called Girls Having Fun.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration and creative process for the work?
Oh gosh, yeah. Okay, the inspiration was a fun little gastro pub called Dublin 4. It's an Irish pub in its bathroom was this really neat picture of 5 girls overlooking the bay. And every time I went in there, I went, oh, those girls, we could get great costumes for them. We have 5 good dancers. We could make this a thing. Mm-hmm. And then I thought they could just walk out of the picture, dance, and walk back in. Yeah. And the painting, I did connect with by email with the artist who was trained she was trained in London on the West End with a scholarship in art. Oh. And I connected with her. She lives up, she came to the United States, and she lives up in Monterey. Mm-hmm. And her work is shown up there at a certain studio, I'm not sure where, but I did connect with her and said, I'd like to use your painting, and this is what I'm intending to do. What would I have to do in order to get the rights to do that? She just said, she emailed me back and said, go for it, Victoria. And that was it.
Those are the rights.
And so then I went online, someone did, I bought the painting, or I bought it, had it framed. I said, now I have it in my garage, but we also had it out during the time we were running the show. But it just the girls walking in the pose. It was a beautiful painting, and she uses, in her paintings, they don't have faces, and she uses old archival images or old archival photos. And somebody found it in our found the real thing that it came from, which was a book cover.
Oh, the real photo that
the real photo that it came from, and it wasn't exactly the photo that she brought it out from. It had a multiple of different women back in the 30s, and one of our costume designers, she found it because she said she loved this author, and bought the book, and she said, there your stuff was the day after I brought it in. I brought the painting, and she said, my gosh, I found this. It's the original stuff was where she took it. So there are a lot of little history things, and she's a really neat artist. It's Jaqueline Osborn.
Yes, and it's program notes, so if you had our program, you can see it in there too, and we'll credit her in the caption. Let's talk a little bit more. We talked about costumes briefly because you kind of copied what was in the photo, the black jumpsuits, and then you incorporated the bar. And then can we talk about the music a little bit and how that came to be?
Well, you know what, I think, it's just hard for me to think, I think Jennifer helped me on that. And I like to pull music off from films, so I like they always have a lot of diversion in them. So she pulled this off, part of it from Amelie, and then I think I found something that had a real 30s sound that was the very introduction to it, and it was kind of broken up 30s music. So it was a combined
effort.
Right. The music I was finding originally from different movies for their scores, it wasn't quite working. So I'm pretty sure she was the big help in that.
I mean, the music fit beautifully.
It really fit great.
Yeah,
and it had
perfect
movement in it, and it had a lot of different sections, which made it easy to choreograph.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you had the original cast, and in this cast, you kind of had a different variety of dancers with different backgrounds and different levels and all that kind of stuff. How did you work with their different levels and backgrounds to kind of showcase each of them differently?
They were such individuals, and they were so competent. I had such a nice time working with them. I wasn't anywhere near competent enough to show them things. So I would tell them what I wanted. I would show it sort of, and they would pluck it off me and make it better. I had really good I had a couple of really good dancers. I had a young dancer who was kind of up and coming and shy, but they all respected each other. Yeah. They all respected what each other pulled in and gave. It was a great merging of dancers. One dancer I was real familiar with because I'd had her in class quite a few times, and I gave her. She knew she was going to be late a little bit, so she was a fast learner, and I knew that, so we didn't have a problem with that. And we had some kids that were sick sometimes. It was hard to get all 5 together, which sounds crazy. But they were just good workers. You know, they just had a lot of respect for each other, and they were all absolutely different one from the other. Not just body types, but just personalities. Yeah, great dancers, actually.
Absolutely, yeah. So because it was a reprise, we'll kind of talk about that for our choreograph question. Normally I ask about styles and stuff.
Yeah.
But since it was a recreation, how did it differ choreographically from the first?
Oh, it's a great question. Let me think. It had, because of the music, it had the nuance from the first.
Mm-hmm.
But when I looked back at the first choreographic piece, except for the solos in the same area, the same place musically, it was totally different.
Yeah.
And I have no idea why I did that. I don't know why I put it on them. It was just different. Maybe I was just working with them. Maybe I was listening to the music differently this time. But the concept was the same. Mm-hmm. Coming away from the railing overlooking the bay was the same. Going back to the railing, going back into the picture. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It might have been dancers that changed my mind.
You a little bit, yeah.
And
it was very different.
It was very different.
Except the solo section.
The solo
section
was very
different.
The solos were they were mapped out in the music. It was perfect. Yeah. How do you get 5 solos in the music perfectly? And I went, wow. Usually, it would be 4 or maybe
the
6. But
worked out.
Yeah.
Music was a lot different than the first one, though.
I know. I'm surprised it was that different.
Yeah.
I used one of the concepts that was the same. That's the solos, and the other concept I used a circle, but it was totally different circle.
Mm-hmm. It was. Yeah, it was very different. We'll have to try to find. We'll have to get. I know that we have a video of the original too, so maybe we'll try to. Try to find that.
I think we.
I know we have it.
I know we have it. Yeah.
Were there any challenges that you had to face, or the dancers faced? You kind of mentioned with sickness and stuff throughout the process, either in rehearsals or tech or dresses or anything like that you'd like to kind of shout out that they recovered from really well, or kind of overcame any challenges during the process, because there always are.
The biggest challenge was me having something go wrong with my hip, and I couldn't even walk, and they were taking all my movement mostly from verbal. Mm-hmm. But the only challenges with the hats were that they were older. I had kept the hats because I had found them and paid for them, and they were beautiful little hats, and I had to find those. And when I found them, they were kind of limp, so they had to try to starch them out a little bit. So we had a little costume thing, so we kept getting girls with the hats over their faces, and the hats didn't stay on the whole time, but they were a big part of it because they were part of the painting. We had the sickness was like sometimes I'd have 4 girls, sometimes 3. Maybe doing the solos was the only thing that was difficult, because I did have 3 girls that were totally on their a real high level, and then I had 2 girls, one who had a really kind of good background in dance, and one that really just wanted a lot of direction and help, and she was just this hard worker and very talented. She was an athlete and getting herself into dance. So it was making those solos consistent. They like to change them up a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
One or 2 girls kept them pretty consistent. I think that was the biggest challenge. And when I couldn't really walk for those 2 months, whatever happened to me, I think it was I was flipped up in the park from a couple of dogs. They were so good at following my directions. So they would always help the other 2 girls that were not. A few times there was something I had to just keep reiterating only on 1 or 2, but mostly they were just smooth.
Yeah, you didn't get lucky in cast. Cast was, all of them are so fun to work with.
They were.
Do you have any advice or words of wisdom to any dancers or student choreographers who want to join us at IBC?
Wisdom. I should have wisdom at my age. I should be overloaded with wisdom. I think the department has a great freedom, a great diversity. We have incredible diversity. Our student choreographers turn out to be really incredible. So, and we have, good direction and technique. I think the diverse program that we have is really one of the special things. And then our teachers are open and helpful, and they're just always open for the kids and fun. They're fun and funny.
They are fun and funny.
So it leaves a light. It makes the kids want to learn because they want to impress us, but they also, and we with COVID and everything, it kind of kicked us in the derriere. So I think it kicked all the departments all over in the derriere, whether they were community college or the university. So coming back from that, we're trying to compile our classes again to give them everything they need, but it's a process right now because they need the technique. The technique gives you freedom, and if you can't be technically proficient in a lot of different areas, especially these days, you can't be free to choreograph or to accept somebody else's choreography. And I've seen some young people come up from the high school. They come to us in high school and then all of a sudden blossom. It's crazy as choreographers. So that's an invitation there. Choreographers develop there for some reason.
Well, the mentorship and the class itself is really well taught by Jen.
Yes, that's right.
So that helps too. And then if you do student choreograph, you get a mentor with you the whole time,
That's
a
right.
faculty member who has extensive experience choreographing. So yeah, it's a good place to learn.
It is. It's a great place to learn and become fabulous, or know that there's some failings. I've got to check up on that. And I've mentored a few, and I've mentored some where I never touched what they did or even commented, and then others where I kind of drove them around the course.
Yeah.
So it's very different for each choreographer and we have choreographers that come back from that have graduated from us and gone on to universities or got their degrees, and they come back to choreograph. Yeah. Which I think is super
cool.
Yeah.
We love that. All right, everybody, that was 6 questions with Alana. Thank you, Victoria.
Thanks, you're welcome.
Enjoy her piece, Girls Having Fun.